Maggie Goldman, your Democratic nominee for Fulton County Commission District 1. I wanted to provide you a personal update on what is happening with the appointment of the Republican nominees to the Fulton Board of Elections. So if you remember, in May, the Fulton GOP nominated Jason Frazier and Julie Adams to be the Republican nominees on the Fulton Board of Elections. And the Fulton County Commission seated the Democratic nominees and not the two Republican nominees. So, and this is very important, the Fulton GOP filed a lawsuit to insist that the Fulton County Commission seat their nominees. The lower court did say that the Fulton County Commission needed to seat them, that they were required to do so. But then when the commission still did not do that, the Fulton GOP asked for a contempt order, and it was ordered that they had to appoint these members or have a $10,000 a day fine. Well, that contempt order was stayed, and the Fulton County Commission has not brought the issue back up as they've been waiting for the appellate decision. So this late last week, the decision came down, and it is in favor of Fulton County Commission not seating any members that it does not pass, basically, with a four-person vote. So the language that is in question says that the two members shall be appointed by the governing authority of Fulton County. And the whole debate has been that the word shall means that they must appoint whatever nominees are given to them. However, for me, I have always thought that by the governing authority of Fulton County would insist that however Fulton County governs itself is how those appointments would be made. And everything that happens in the Fulton County Commission must receive 4 affirmative votes. That's just every single thing. That is how Fulton County governs itself. Even if you have, I believe the Atlanta Public Schools has a seat on the Development Authority. They send a nomination. The Fulton County Commission does not need to automatically seat that person. They still need to get 4 votes. So that is a perfect example of an outside entity making a nomination that the county still has to affirm with 4 votes. The other thing that I had always thought conceptually about appointments is that every single person or body making an appointment must, in theory, be reportable back to voters. So somebody in elected office needs to tie back to that nomination. So in this case, the Fulton County Commission would be the body that reports to the public, and the Fulton GOP and the Democratic Party are not, they do not report to the public the same way that an elected body would. For example, when the governor makes appointments, he is elected by the people. When judges even make appointments, I would presume there is some way that they were either elected themselves or they were appointed by someone who was elected, and there's a trace back to public accountability. Every appointment should trace back to public accountability. And if we were to just simply appoint anybody that a private entity, such as a party, puts up, there is no way to have public accountability for a private entity earning an appointment without review. Okay? And so that's basically what they ended up saying. So some of the commissioners concluded that Frazier and Adams should not serve on the Board of Registrations and Elections. In doing so, they were exercising their constitutional prerogative to exercise their judgment as to these appointments on behalf of the people who elected them. It goes on to say, these constitutional provisions mandate that public affairs should be managed by public officials who are accountable to the people. As important as any government power is the power to appoint public officials. The General Assembly may, within constitutional limitations, establish qualifications for public office and designate a governmental appointing authority, but it cannot delegate the appointee power to a private organization. Such an organization, no matter how responsible, is not in the public domain and is not accountable to the people as our Constitution requires. It goes on to say that there were some reasons that they could have technically intervened. One of them was if the county was negligent in their duty, which they were not. And nor can we say that there is no remedy for the commissioner's refusal to make these appointments when the party can, as in the past, submit new nominees to the commissioners. Because the commissioners were acting within their own lawful and discretionary authority when they declined to seat the Board of Registration and Elections nominees at issue. We reverse the trial court grants of writ mandamus as an abuse of the court's discretion. Basically, they're saying that the court, abused its discretion in forcing them to make the nominations, make the appointments. And it also says that it follows from our conclusion that the trial court abused its discretion when it issued the writ of mandamus in its order holding the commissioners in contempt for violating that writ must also be reversed. So the $10,000 a day has been reversed, and the requirement that the commissioners appoint the nominees with, disregarding a 4-person vote was also reversed. Now, I'm sure that the Fulton GOP will continue the court battle. And my opponent, our incumbent commissioner, is quite disappointed that the appeals court overturned the lower court's decision. A motion to reconsider has been filed, she writes. She also writes that the court costs are being racked up by Fulton taxpayers, and that Fulton taxpayers may have to pay expenses for both sides if the lower court ruling is upheld. But I'm sorry, who filed the original lawsuit that is causing all of these costs? It was the Fulton GOP. So if the commissioner would like to stop spending money on frivolous lawsuits, public dollars, then she should tell her friends to stop filing frivolous lawsuits, and then we will not have to pay them.